Hi guys, Jimmy here, welcome back to my channel. So it's day 21 of my 31 days of Halloween, and today we're going to be talking about one of the original Evil Dead films. Yeah, so we've had a remake, then we've had Evil Dead Rise, and then we've got Evil Dead Rise 2 coming out, I think. Evil Dead Rise was very gory. But no, we're not going to talk about the new ones, we're going to talk about one of the original ones. Now, I'm not going to talk about part 3. I'll be honest with you, I can't stand part 3. It doesn't do it for me at all on any level, either a funny level, a comedy level rather, or a horror level. It just doesn't do it for me at all. I've got a steelbook back there, but I just couldn't be bothered to get it out for this one today. But it's very subjective. I know some people love Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. I don't. I just cannot stand it for some reason. We're not going to talk about the original one that was banned when it first came out, when censorship was running amok and people thought our society was being ruined by these video nasties. No, we're going to talk about Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. And that came out in 87, I think it was. I was about 15 at the time, I think. And I was at school. And we were in our English class. And there was, I don't know, 20 of us, whatever the case may be, was back then. And the teacher was talking to us about what we did at the weekend. So, like, for instance, she would come to me and say, right, James, what did you do at the weekend? I said, I got on my bike with my best mate and we went to Barn Elms and rode around there, and then went up Bishop's Park down by the river. Okay, and then she went around to a couple of people, but then she went to one kid. And this kid was very laid back. He didn't really get involved in things. He wasn't excluded or anything like that. He just didn't get involved with things, but he was very, very laid back. He didn't stress about anything. He was just like, yeah, bang, bang, bang. And that was it. Really nice guy though. But he was also quite funny. But he just come to school, minded his own business, done what he had to do, and then that was it. Never gave the teachers any problem. So she went to him and she said to him, right, I can't remember his name for the life of me now. And she said, right, what did you do? And he said, well, I watched some videos. And she went, okay, what films did you watch? He went, well, I watched horror films, miss. And the teacher went, I beg your pardon? And he went, I watched some horror films, miss, at the weekend, yeah. And she went, what do you mean you watched some horror films? What sort of horror films are you watching? And so he said a couple, I can't remember what they were, but then he said Evil Dead 2. And she went, stop lying. She went, there's no need to lie, just tell us what you've done at the weekend. And he went, no, I watched Evil Dead 2 at the weekend. And she went, but your parents wouldn't allow you to watch a film like that. And he went, no, they would. There's no problems there. And she went, no, that's totally inappropriate for a child. You can't be watching it. He went, no, my brother watched it. If he thinks it's okay for me, I'm allowed to watch it. That's what my parents tell me. So she was like, no, I think you're lying. He went, no, there's a scene there where the guy cuts his hand off and starts fighting with his hand and whatnot like that. And the teacher was just horrified. And she went, right, that's it. We're stopping this part of the class now. We're going back to our textbooks to read, I don't know, Of Mice and Men or something like that. She went, we're not going to do this anymore now. And she was really, really worked up. But he was just like, no, if my brother watches it and he thinks it's okay, my parents let me watch it. She didn't believe him. She wasn't having none of it. So then I think a few weeks after that, we had like parents' evening. And for some reason, there was a group of us together, and the teacher who taught English at the time came over. And she went, well, my name is Miss Bang, Bang, Bang. And then she was saying to the parents just in general, okay, so this year's been a good year. We're going to talk individually. She said, but yeah, so we do a lesson where we ask the pupils what they've done at the weekend. And she went, most people are saying what they've done at the weekend. Other people are saying that they watched some videos that are quite inappropriate. And the kid just turned around and said, it's not inappropriate. And so there was a bit of quietness, and his parents were there, and his parents didn't know what was going on. I went, but you're all right, son. He went, yeah. And he went, but she's saying, I didn't watch a film, and I did watch a film. So anyway, the teacher went, look, let me just clear it up. I asked him what he watched at the weekend, and he said to me he watched a horror film that was an 18 film. It's extremely graphic, and it's not suitable for children. But he said he watched it, and I don't think he did watch it. And the parents, I think it was the dad, turned around and said, what film was it? And he went, it was Evil Dead 2, Dad. So rather than the parents getting upset, the parents went, yeah, okay, so where's the problem? And the teacher went, but that's not appropriate for your child to be watching that. And the dad turned around and he said, let me explain something to you. He said, I would rather know what my son is watching than not know what he's watching. So he's got an older brother. And he says, if his older brother, who was 18 at the time anyway, his older brother was 18. He says, if his older brother says it's okay, it's okay. And we are happy knowing what our son's watching. It's not for you or anybody else to tell us what is appropriate for our son. We will make that decision. Anyway, so like you could, if we had a pin drop, and the teacher went, right, well, if that's the way you look at it, then that's fine. And the dad went, yeah, that is the way I look at it. But he kept his voice at one level. He didn't raise it, he didn't get excited, one level. And he made his point that I would rather know what my child is doing than not know what my child is doing. So he can trust me to tell me what he's doing, or if he's got any issues or anything, and he knows he's not going to get in trouble for it. And that was my story about it. So I remember just sitting in English class and this guy saying, oh, so he's got his hand cut off and he put a chainsaw on it. And then everyone was like, wow. And then I think maybe a year after that, I think I come across the film. But one of my favourite versions of this film, so one of my favourite editions, is this DVD edition that I got from, I think it was actually CEX in Fulham. And it's got the unmatted version of Evil Dead 1. So I think that's a 1.33, is it? The ratio? But it's just the artwork on this. I just really, really like the artwork on this. It's a really nice addition to have. It's still got that like that VHS feel to it. It's not as sharp as, you know, it's not as sharp as what it could be, but it's not needed to. But you just look at the artwork on there. And even on the back there, it's just I really, really enjoyed this edition. It's one of the editions that I've held on to for such a long time. And then I've still got the flyer on the inside there. And that was my What This Film Means to Me edition today. As I said, that was the 4-disc edition. And for some reason, these were numbered. Can be on there. If I go down there, you'll actually hopefully see where it says Evil Dead 1 unmatted. As I said, I absolutely adore Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, not Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. I liked the remake, and I also really enjoyed Evil Dead Rise, so I'm looking forward to part 2. But that was it for today, guys. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you real soon on my next vlog. Don't have nightmares.